Would any of you believe me if I told you that these UFO attacks and sightings were predicted last year? Now I'm talking about the countless balloons and unidentified aircrafts, flying objects that seem to be making their way into our airspace as of late. And to tell you the truth, I'm surprised that I just remembered this today. A former FBI agent actually talked about it, and it seems to go pretty well with what's happening in our skies. Would you be surprised to know that even these sightings are rigged? I feel like everything is rigged nowadays. Now you have to wonder, what is with this timing, right? Now at the same time, we're being told to prepare for the worst when it comes to China. Now I don't know, it's kind of like there are these investigations that are going to happen, but since we're all too distracted, not many people are talking about it. Now believe me, we're going to be talking about it. Watch until the end because there is a ton of revelations that you need to know about today. Now before I continue, please take a second, smash the like button for the video. Definitely helps out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and I know that this video is probably going to get suppressed due to the topics that we're going to be talking about, but this is why I do it, because you guys deserve the facts. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to global happenings, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, the state of our economy, the housing market, the stock market, and everything that's going on over in Washington, D.C. that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There is a link in the description down below. Now, it is never a good thing when we're being warned to prepare for the worst. To be honest, it scares the living daylights out of me whenever I see people in the news talking about conflicts that may happen, because it somehow feels like our leadership just loves throwing its hat into fights rather than away from them. And if you're a fan of history, then you already know what I'm about to be talking about when it comes to these UAPs, or these UFOs as we once called them. December 9th, 1941, unsubstantiated reports of approaching aircraft caused an invasion panic in New York City that crashed the stock market prices. Now remember, this was 2 days after the attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese, so tensions were obviously very, very high that another attack was imminent. This led to President Franklin Roosevelt's fireside chat that told the American people, Japan is challenging us. American soldiers and sailors have been killed, our ships sunk, and airplanes destroyed. But now the United States is accepting their challenge. This was the call to action for President Roosevelt and the answer for the fear and anxiety that people felt over an alleged attack in New York. But it doesn't end there. February 1942, balloons were seen over the skies of Los Angeles. Wow. Balloons, you don't say. It was later found out that these were meteorological balloons released to help determine wind conditions, but that doesn't matter since the gunners still shot them out the sky. Some even said that the balloons looked like attacking planes or UFOs, but it was later dubbed as the Battle of Los Angeles. Now at this point, people wanted someone to save them. Americans needed a hero, and the president was willing to wage war to make Americans feel safe again. Does this sound familiar now? Keep in mind, this was the 1940s that I'm talking about. And it's not just me that's talking about this stuff. Let's start with retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Leighton.
What are your thoughts as you're looking at all of this? Is this, these things are shot down as an abundance of caution, and, they're on our radar screen and we're looking for them because it's top of mind? Or is there something more to be concerned about here?
Well, I think, Jim, the big thing is that obviously there's heightened awareness now at this point. So, you had the incident a week ago where we shot down the Chinese surveillance balloon, who were pretty convinced that that's exactly what that was. And then we start seeing all these other objects. Clearly, the radar operators for NORAD are very sensitive now to anything that even looks remotely like an unusual object in the skies.
Oh, and don't go back to me yet. I have a lot more of these videos. Here is former Secretary of the Army Patrick Murphy talking about this as well.
I think we're sending a message of what would happen, in Ukraine. Obviously, we had this incredible coalition, as you know, pushing back on the Russian invasion. And I think it's sending a message, hopefully it's sending the right message to China, that the world will rally around us if they keep messing around.
But Secretary, the country's got to rally around this single entity, China. Everything from the farmland they're buying, from the schools they're taking over, from the corporations that sold their soul in order to get cheap goods. This has got to be a whole government and a country approach.
Yeah, I'd say a whole of nation approach, as you said, Brian. And what people need to understand in our great country is that we're the underdog here. We're a third of their size. Right. And I'm not just talking about geographic and population. And
they have more ICBMs mobile and fixed than we do.
Right, and that's why, listen, America at our best is the reluctant warrior, but we're a warrior. And we need to make sure, when you have less than 1% of the country that's serving, and you only have 26% of the country that can even serve, because of the obesity crisis in America and some other things. We need to wake up and understand that we have a competitor out there in China that thinks they're the preeminent power in the world. We don't want any unnecessary wars, but we have to always prepare for the worst, God forbid.
The worst case scenario being a war, right? That's what he's trying to point out, right? But were you guys aware that we were already told that this would happen? Here's a couple of clips from former FBI agent John DeSouza, and I want you guys to digest what he's trying to tell us.
All over the world, people are rejecting what's going on with the restriction of our freedoms. And that's been falling apart for them. They're going to have to change tactics. They're going to have to do something different if they hope to escape prosecution for their many crimes against humanity. They're going to have to do something else. And I think fake alien invasion is one of the main things they have ready.
So yes, they mean to scare us, much like how Roosevelt and his administration scared Americans back then. And just to really drive the point home here, guys, here's DeSouza saying something a year ago that correctly predicts something that happened just recently.
We're going to be seeing them actually going and engaging civilian ships and vessels in a hostile, aggressive manner. They may not be killing people yet, but they will be doing things to disable ships, disable vessels, have real physical confrontation, because at this point they need to ratchet up the fear more than what it's been.
Well, would you look at that? This just recently happened. A Boeing 777-200 from United Airlines just came 775 feet from the Pacific Ocean with no specific explanation yet. The plane reached a descent rate of almost 8,600 feet per minute before control was regained. It said that the pilots were willing to fully cooperate regarding the investigations of the incident, but man, that must have been terrifying for everyone on board, even people on the ground. And this could be the fear that they want us to feel, to justify a war, to justify getting our minds off of things that are coming out now. Remember, guys, these are distractions. And also remember that I told you that we would be talking about these things that we're being distracted from. Well, here's two of them. One is the possible release of Jeffrey Epstein's documents that names people who were associated with him. Now you have to think, who might we see in this list? It's already being rumored that a lot of powerful people are in on it, so I'm guessing that the whole UFO distractions are necessary. You know, create a smokescreen. But forget about the UFOs. Give us the list of people who have to be held accountable for the many atrocities that were found out about this guy. The second, well, it's something that we talk about a lot here, and it's the connection to first son Hunter Biden and his infamous laptop. Now, I'm not saying it's for certain, but the timing is perfect. Investigations are now going to be going underway, and we're seeing classified documents all over the place and UFOs. Come on, guys, with all the information that I've laid out in front of you, what do you think is actually happening around us? Now, I keep telling you guys, I don't have all the answers, but I do have a lot of questions that have to be answered. And I'm hoping that we can talk about all of this more in the comment section. And if we're talking about answers, though, I do have some when it comes to financial independence. The freedom that we yearn for is still within our grasp, but you got to take the first step to get back on the horse. Now, if you want to learn more about budgeting, generating multiple streams of income through side hustles or small businesses, maybe you want to diversify your assets and invest in gold. By the way, the best way to invest in gold, I've left a link for you guys in the description down below. Or if you want to become an investor in the stock market or in real estate, then it takes the first step. The path to financial freedom is not easy, but it's also not impossible. If you guys want to learn more, feel free to join us in the Patreon community. There's a link in the description down below. But before I go, guys, don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video and subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate you guys watching. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you on the next video.